Hi, welcome to First Pages. Got my mood earrings on today, so don't be surprised if they change color as the story progresses. Today's First Pages is a contemporary romance with a supernatural twist. Intriguing, right? It's called The Breath of the Soul by Linda Lee Williams. Snow whirling outside the window, her forehead resting against the cool glass, an engine rumbling beneath her. These were her first thoughts as she opened her eyes. She straightened, looking around. No one occupied the padded gray vinyl seat beside her. Other passengers slumbered on the bus, as unaware of her as she'd been of them. A liquid chill flowed through her body, and her skin tingled. Where am I? How did I get here? Her heart raced, beating against the walls of her chest. She clutched the satchel in her lap and breathed, in and out, until she calmed down. She was wearing a silvery winter jacket, blue jeans, short cuffed boots. She shuffled her feet, wiggled her toes. Warm. Okay, so she'd been on board for a while. And she could remember nothing, not even her name. She unzipped the satchel, pulled apart the flaps, and stared into the abyss. Tentatively, she grasped the hidden contents inside. Her fingers encircled a wad of smooth, slick paper. She brought the banded bundle to the surface. With a faint gasp, she shoved the money back down out of sight. She rummaged for a wallet. Except for the stash of loot, she came up empty. Well, not quite. She had a reboarding pass, a claim check, and a makeup bag. No personal info. What had happened to her itinerary? Had she tossed it at one of the stops? She clenched her jaw. How considerate of her to think of her finances, her wardrobe, and her face before her identity. Minutes passed as she sat rigid, unthinking. The bus shifted, groaned, and slowed on the treacherous highway. Several passengers stirred, gazing out the windows. The man across the aisle shrugged in sympathy and smiled. Despite her situation, she managed to smile back. Traffic grew heavier. Cars and trucks sped around the bus, traveling too fast. Not long afterward, signposts popped up. Snow clung to the boards, all but obliterating the lettering. Even so, she deciphered enough of the letters to guess, like a contestant on Wheel of Fortune, that Colorado Springs lay ahead. What she didn't know was who she was and why she was bound for the city that claimed Pikes Peak. Visiting family for the holiday? The man startled her back to reality. She half shrugged, half shook her head. Not really. Are you? Which holiday? Please tell me. Yeah, I spent Thanksgiving with my brother and his wife. Don't like to fly. Why fly? Albuquerque is only 400 miles from Denver. Can't drive. I have epilepsy. She felt pity for the stranger, the only other human being she knew at this point. I'm sorry, but I'm happy you have family you can see that aren't too far away. His light brown eyes crinkled. Are you getting off in the Springs or going on? No, I'm not going on. I'm staying here. Was she? Well, I hope you have a nice Thanksgiving too. Her lips quivered into a smile, and tears nipped her eyes. She looked away. Thank you. Her fellow passengers worked their cell phones. When the bus arrived at the station, the man of her recent acquaintance rose from his seat. After you, he said. She unfastened her seatbelt, stood up, and fell into line. Swept along, she followed the other people to the exit and into the building, seeking shelter from the storm. Handlers carried in the baggage. She had no idea which suitcase was hers, and she hung back. People grabbed their luggage, moving on their way toward their destinations. The man she'd met bade her goodbye. As he strode off toward a waiting SUV, she nearly called out to him. One bag remained, a small teal carrier. The handler rolled the suitcase toward her. Here you go, miss. It's yours, right? The claim checks matched, and she accepted the luggage with a slight nod. She sat down on a bench in a utilitarian station, pretending to wait for her ride. A ticket booth was open, but there were few people milling about. Half had stayed on the bus, bound for Denver or Boulder. Beyond the windows, the snow gusted and swirled, obscuring her view of the area. If she'd brought a phone, she might have known whom to call. The wall clock said 10:30. My God, she must have been traveling all night. She could not recollect boarding the bus in New Mexico, what reason she had for leaving, or why she'd come to Colorado. Her mind was as white and blank as the snow falling outside. She frowned, sighing. Whether unconsciously or not, she'd wanted to unplug, to break any connection she might have had. I must be afraid of something or someone. I must have run away. Although this strangely perplexing revelation disturbed her, she could find no other rational explanation. Her stomach growled with hunger and her bladder ached. She recalled using the lavatory on the bus, but could remember nothing else about the journey. As she slid the purse strap from her shoulder, she loosened the collar on her jacket. Curious, she opened her suitcase partway. She spied a few pair of jeans and some sweaters, none of which looked familiar. Still, the clothes had to be hers. She closed the luggage and headed for the restroom. Inside, she shut herself in a stall with her belongings. She counted the wad of bills in her purse, several $1,000s in hundreds and twenties, not much to live on for any length of time. She shoved the bulk of the money into her suitcase and kept smaller denominations in the satchel. If someone snatched her handbag, at least she wouldn't lose everything. At the sink, she tried not to linger on the face in the mirror, the woman with chin-length brown hair. Her skin appeared sallow under the fluorescent lighting. Sorrow emanated from her hazel eyes, and shadows smudged the hollows beneath. She was either grief-stricken or dying, and neither of those options appealed to her. If she come to Colorado to escape her past or to end her life, she wished she understood why. She left the restroom, her luggage in tow. As she stood in the terminal, alone but for a few token workers, she glanced around helplessly, aimlessly. She swallowed hard, on the verge of tears. What should she do now? Where should she go? To the hotel or the police? Pretty good, huh? If you'd like to find out who this young woman is, please excuse that, we just lost power. If you would like to find out who this young woman is, please check out the purchase links in the description. If you like the channel, please subscribe. And as always, happy reading.